Hello and welcome to the Direct Selling Success Podcast. I'm Anna Green and I'm here to share with you tips, tricks, and training on network marketing done right. Thank you for listening.
Hello, I'm joined by a lovely guest today who's been on before. Gosh, a couple of years ago now, I think it was.
I
Something
feel
like that.
very happy to be returning. Thank you
I
for
know,
having me.
I know. I think you're one of my only returning guests. Nobody else has been back on yet, I don't think, or maybe one person. Privileged. You've got so much to say, that's the thing, and it's also important.
Well, it is, and the fact that your show is 101, I feel like, we're reversing that whole room 101 is normally where all the irrelevant stuff goes, the stuff that nobody wants. But this is a very relevant show, isn't it?
Yes, episode 101, room 101, the most relevant one you can possibly find. Do not stick it in the bin.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
So, Jojo, introduce yourself. Tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Okay, so I am Jojo Smith and I am not your average brand expert. I am a whole host of beautiful, sassy, not sorry vibes. I am the founder of CreativSAS, which is a brand agency. CreativSAS stands for Creativity, Self-Awareness and Strategy. It is our USP and our unique modality. I am also the founder of the Big Wish Works CIC, which is for care leavers, bringing them hope, opportunity, mentorship and encouragement in entrepreneurship, because I am myself a care leaver, was in care from 18 months through to 18 years. So that is me, not your average brand expert.
No, no, definitely not. I always used to associate brand experts with the boring people who looked at graphic design.
Yeah, me.
Yeah, yeah,
The Jeffs and the suits, the businessman Jeffs of the world,
yeah.
which is funnily where I actually started my adventure in my own business.
Did you?
Oh yeah, because this is what makes me a brand expert from lived experience, 20 plus years in business development and brand development, sort of before I actually had my own business, which is 6 years old this week, actually. 6 years old this week.
Oh,
Just
wow, happy birthday.
thank you very much. So, but my adventure in the business world started with me showing up as I thought I should rather than how I could. And that was as businessman Jeff, very corporate, very safe, very like I say, as I thought I should be, so people would take me seriously. And if you're listening to this, if you can't see me, then I am a vision of bright pink, a big bow on my head, pink glasses. I am bold, I am lively, I am full of spirit, and I'm a little bit cheeky. So actually, how I was showing up was so not me that there would never have been a connection between me and clients, me and team, me and suppliers, me and myself, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's how I started out. Very quickly realised I was doing it wrong, um, and realised I had to take full ownership of who the F I was, start being real, and really just go for it. And that was when everything changed and the success really started to come. So from a brand point of view, this is now what CreativSAS is all about. We create real AF legacy brands with purpose. But like, I am not a fan of this word authentic, because we hear it too much and nobody's being it. Well, say nobody, not many. But it is really, really learning how to anchor and amplify your authenticity in brand.
Yeah, yeah. And in the network marketing industry, and I remember it well, you have all these brands that are behind you as the company, the fonts and the colours and the image and all this sort of thing. And all the posts that you're given to put out there are all the same, with the same branding as everybody else, the same bump as everybody else, the same copy paste stuff sometimes as everybody else. And you kind of feel, and I remember feeling it as well, and even when I started this business I felt as well, it's kind of safe to stay in that bubble of, you know, what's expected of you, you know how to show up because you're told how to show up, so you show up like that, like everybody else is, because it's nice and safe.
But that's the thing, then you become irrelevant, which is
Yeah,
what we didn't want this show to be today, about room 101. But you're effectively, when you do that, you are putting yourself in room 101.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a purpose of mine to be able to really encourage people to have the audacity to be real in their brand. But let's rewind just slightly, because it's also a mission of mine to really re-educate about the difference between brand and branding. So many people say, oh, I've got my branding. They don't even consider brand. And the ing comes after brand, right? We have to really focus on what brand means. So the difference from an education point of view, for anybody that doesn't understand or know the difference between brand and branding, your brand is the naked person slash business. So think of me naked if you'd like, or not. You could not remove my behaviors, my beliefs, my personality, my values. You can't remove those things. That's who I am innately. Your branding is the clothes you put on that business. So that's your fonts, your colours, your visibility aspects. So many people dress their brands before they even know the brand. So you imagine me putting myself in that dark grey suit, and that pinstripe suit was never ever going to fulfill my full potential, because that's not who I was. That didn't fit me. That didn't suit me. That didn't raise my energy levels. Do you know what I mean? But I actually, back then, I didn't even know who I was properly and per se, because I hadn't done that work. So actually going and doing the self-awareness, which is the middle part of what CreativSAS really stands for, that self-awareness of understanding your values, your beliefs, your behaviors, your personality, it's not until you know that you can truly step out in your brand. Now, you're in a whole other level in network marketing, because you are giving the branding. So you're giving your clothes to wear. So it's almost like your uniform, if you like.
Yeah.
Giving your uniform. Now, so many people work for other places, but certain employees always shine, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, those employees that shine, what are they anchoring and amplifying? What are we seeing? Their personalities,
Yeah.
their values, their behaviors. And that's in there, even though they're in that uniform, they will still always be your star players and your A players. So from a network marketing point of view, it's really, really important that you as an individual in that company really understand your values, your personality, your behaviors, right? Because then you can anchor them, and then you can amplify them. And that's how you be more successful in the network marketing arena. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Totally. So I did it the opposite way around. When I started Direct Selling Success, I went, I am not one for graphics. I don't care. I'm just going to stick myself out there as me, and went for it. I wasn't authentically me because I was scared, and I had,
That's a whole job.
oh yeah, 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 I know, I know, a whole other kettle of fish. But
Yeah.
I built that confidence, and I grew, and as I grew, the things that I put out there changed, and the wording I used and the messaging I used and the confidence levels of and the thought leader, and all those things started to change, and I developed my personal brand along the way. And then came the colours and the whatever else, my little dandelion and the rest of it. Because that, I don't know, I don't know why I did it that way around, but
But
most
that's
people do it
why
the other.
a lot of people do, and a lot of independent business owners do it this way, do it that
Mm,
way as well. And then what they also do is they forget about it and don't invest or maintain their brand either, which is a problem, because they often think that, oh, I've done the branding, it's all I needed. I didn't need to invest or work or evolve the brand, but they actually do.
yeah,
But when you say you did that, that's what's obviously positioned you in the place in the arena of where you are now, because people respect that. Like you say, you're a category leader now. So you absolutely are known as that because you stepped into your personal
yeah,
brand. From a network marketing point of view, that is really, really important. Within, obviously, because you're representing a brand, this is where that uniform analogy kind of comes in. You can wear the uniform, but you can absolutely anchor and amplify who you
yeah,
are, that personal aspect. And do you know what? People can tell me forever and a day that personal brands, you can't be that within network marketing, but people buy off people.
yeah. It's all it's about.
That's all it's about. And it was that kind of question that actually led me to realize that I was doing it wrong, because I had started my business and I had invested. I'd spent a good week deciding on this big investment for my business when I first started. A whole £30 from Vistaprint for some business cards kept me awake for a week. Right, this whole £30 to spend on these business cards, and I got them, and they were in branding that I thought I should be. And it wasn't until I put this card down in front of somebody, the fabulous Danny Wallace, it actually was. Right, I put this card down, and as I put it down, I went, but it's not really me. And I actually said those words. And Danny said to me, Jojo, what made you successful in your previous business? And I was very successful in my business development career, working across all the industries you can even think: retail, education, healthcare, automotive, all the things, MTV, Amazon, all those kind of things. And I was successful. And when she asked me that question, I was like, it was my personality. Now, so many people, when they're building brands, actually they go to values, they go to vision, they go to mission. These are our basics. But what they don't look at is personality. Something we heavily do with CreativSAS is it's all about the personality, because that personality, and when we say personality, break it down, personal, and it's personal. Do you know what I mean? So that's the personality of it. So how are you making that personal with your client, with your customer? And there's a great Joe Dispenza quote, which is your personality is your personal reality.
I like it.
Brilliant quote. If you just sit with that for a minute, what it's saying is, if you're dulling your personality down, then you're dulling your personal reality down. If you are bringing that up, then you're bringing the other aspect up. So if you are not taking ownership of your personality, which so many people haven't done any of the work to even understand what their personality is, then you're not living your best reality, because you haven't invested in that time. If that makes sense. We're going deep quite quick here, aren't we, Anna?
We are, but I think it's important. It really is. And this isn't about, like, me and you. We're quite loud. We're quite outspoken, I would say.
I would say bold.
Bold, that's the word I'm looking
I
for.
would say
Bold and courageous.
I can be loud.
Yeah.
Give me a microphone and I'm even louder. But we are bold. But the reason we are bold is because we have the belief and the
Yeah.
evidence behind us to actually say, well, do you know what? We've walked this path. And belief is evidence-based. And you actually touched on this at the very beginning. You said I kind of went with it, and I had to build my confidence, and I had
Yeah.
to build this and everything else. I was exactly the same, because when I realized that I was going down the wrong path with it, I then hit a huge belief block, huge belief block. But equally, as I mentioned before, I've been in care. So being in care gives you rapid adaptation, resilience, and resourcefulness. So that kind of came in as well and went, Jojo, if you don't sort this out, you're never building that business that's going to have a long longevity. You're never going to scale this business if you don't get past this one block, which was the belief. And I built myself a system, being creative, being self-aware, having a strategy. And I built myself a system, and I followed that system. It was based on the 21 days to break a habit for a belief. And it was all to reframe, retrain, and maintain my mindset and my belief aspects. And I did that. And from that, I then wrote the book, Loving Yourself Beyond Belief. Because if I didn't, it basically came down to, if I didn't love myself, if I didn't trust myself, if I didn't know myself, like myself, if I didn't do all those things, then how the hell could I expect somebody else to? So I went on that kind of discovery aspect of the self-awareness part, and really honed in and learned to acknowledge my quirks, my best bits, my strengths, my weaknesses, all the things. I learned to accept them, and then I learned to allow them, which is basically acknowledgement, acceptance, and allowance is what self-awareness is all about.
Yeah.
I made a real commitment to that. And in doing that, learned to love myself beyond belief, not ego-wise, but from a point of, you can absolutely do this, look what you've done previously, all those kind of things. And that's what's enabled me to get to this point, to really understand and push past that belief block, which I'll put myself on a pitchfork for this. I would put myself, it's belief is the basis of everything. If you haven't got that belief in who you are and what you're capable of, which when you were saying, it's very hard to show up as you.
Yeah.
You would think it would be the easiest thing in the world. It's the hardest thing in the world, right? Too many of us be as we should, not as we could. But I just knew that was the block. And if I didn't get past that, and since then, in 6 years, I mean, like you say, I was on here quite a few years ago. The success and the freedom and well, the respect, the retention, and the reputation that I've built has built me a really good reoccurring and repeatable revenue. Do you know what I mean? Because I've put those things in place. So yeah, I love the fact we're going this deep today, Anna.
It is so important. And that boldness doesn't come because of who we are, it's the work we've done. And it's something I teach my clients as well. Embrace who you are. And it's not about being the most extrovert, and it's not about being the most confident. It's just about, like, everybody's problem is that block with the putting themselves out there, because it's too safe and cozy to stick with the crowd. We're designed to be community people and stay safe and stay blended in with everybody. It's not safe to be out there on social media showing up as you and saying what you think. And
I always remember somebody that I worked with turned around, we were having this conversation, and she put it beautifully. Especially network marketing is a lot of showing up on social media, isn't it? Like how we are now. And she said, you'll go out the house and you'll go out with your face to Asda, and you'll go out and speak to the cashier at Morrison's, and you'll walk out and say hello to the postman. Put yourself on a screen on social media. But we use this face every day. We use this voice every day. We use, I had some real blocks at the beginning. And one of those biggest ones was my Brummie accent.
well, right? Yorkshire accent, I can sympathise.
But the thing is, I was looking at it. So when I said to you before about the reframe, retrain, maintain aspect, right? I was looking at it from the wrong angle. But equally, there was some negative narrative that was going on in my head. Brummies sound dull, they sound dumb, they sound this, all those kind of things. There's actually an American study which shows that Brummie accent is one of the sexiest, believe it or not. Right. And I had an Italian that had got the most beautiful accent literally last week at a book launch come up to me and went, Jojo, I love your accent. It's like you're singing to me. And I was like, are you for real, Bab? Right? But this is the perception that we have about ourselves. And when I talk about anchoring and amplifying our assets, right? That Brummie accent was one of those things for me. It is one of my most amplified assets that I have, because in a room, I will stand out with it the same as you will. In a conversation on social media, and equally we could take it another level. Look at Alison Hammond is one of the most well-known voices of Brummies. Peaky Blinders, look how successful that's been. And do I need to even state one of the biggest legends from Birmingham, Ozzy Osbourne? He made himself and his family famous because of that accent, because of that boldness. Now, these are the things that I anchor into. These are my bold beliefs and my evidence-based aspects. When I don't hear now that Brummie accent is dull or dim or whatever you want. I'm like, thank God I've got this Brummie accent. I'm going to utilize it from a brand point of view. So it's those USPs that we often hold us back. Actually, they're our strongest strengths.
Yeah, and that's a lesson for so many people, isn't it? Because actually, everybody will have that thing. Oh, I can't do this because this, or I'm never going to be successful because of this, or I can't show up doing this because of whatever. Those things, it is just that little reframe. And just think, well, actually, where can I find the evidence to see that is actually not true? Where can I find the positive evidence for this?
If it's evidence-based, it's an actual scientific thing.
Yeah, it is.
So, but too many of us don't go in search of the evidence. No. I have a little thing that I refer to in one of my courses, and that is we have the the willing fairy and the wise fairy in our head, right? The willing fairy is the one that comes running to the forefront with the answer straight away. So it might be, I don't know, let's talk about the accent. So is my accent an up or a down? So straight away, oh, the willing fairy comes to the front. I've got the answer to this. No, people think it's dim. People think it's dull. People think this, right? So she's really excitable and she's telling me the answers that have been told that are there in our head, because remember, our brain wants to keep us safe. So it's telling us the negative. We have, I think it's between, it's between 80,000 and 12,000 thoughts a day. 95% of those are negative, right?
Yeah.
That's how our brain works. So there's the wise fairy. With self-awareness, I now know, sorry, that's the willing fairy. I now know she exists and she's going to tell me that straight off. What I now do is wait for the wise fairy that strolls along at her own pace and then goes, give me a minute. Right, Ozzy Osbourne, Alison Hammond, Peaky Blinders. And then I go, oh yeah, but we're too quick and we live in too quick a fast-paced world where we're always quick to listen to the willing fairy, if that makes sense. Do you know anybody that's joined this is going, what is she talking about? We've got wise and willing fairies, we've got all these different things, but that's how I view it now. And the self-awareness part of me, which again, I'll give you another statistic, 95% of the population think they're self-aware. Only 15% actually are, which is why it's one of our biggest aspects of our USP, because when you bring that into business, when you bring that into brand, the more, like, the higher performing you will be. There's other statistics that I could give you with that, but we really think myself, where I thought I was at 46, I didn't know Jack about myself until I really took the time to understand it. And those elements are what have brought me the success within brand, is really taking the time to invest in, well, who am I? And who do I want to serve? Who can I serve? Who do I don't want to serve?
Yeah.
All these things are so relevant when it comes to brand, yet we're not giving brand the relevance it deserves. We maintain our houses, we maintain our cars, but we don't actually maintain brands as much as we could. And from a network marketing point of view, that's your gold dust. That is your gold dust. And if you don't value that, then, you're not going to have the performance and the productivity and the success that you really want.
No. One thing I say all the time, why should I buy from you? What's different about you than me going to the main website or me going to a local ambassador rep, whatever, down the road? What's the difference between me buying your products from you or exactly the same products that somebody might be selling cheaper, somebody might be selling at a better value, better deal, whatever? Why you?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot to understand that. And it takes a lot of self-belief to be able to say, well, yeah, buy from me because this is what I stand for. These are my values. This is what I'm going to give you. It's not about the discount.
Different. It's really funny you say that, because you've just reminded me. I often tell the story that the reason I left corporate was through integrity, and it was through greedy companies that I was working with and things like that. And I worked for this one company and it was repeat business, it was consumables. And so therefore I was a rep on the road, right? On my business card, it said another bloody rep, because that's exactly how you were viewed, right? But I put it on my business card because I took ownership of that. And actually that would spark a conversation every single time, because they knew that I knew that they knew that that's what they were thinking, right? Another bloody rep. And I remember saying to a couple of my clients, because my integrity, my honesty was really there, these were part of my values, I would go, you can get this cheaper on the internet. Right? I would go and see them and I would tell them this. They would still buy from me.
Yeah.
They would go, no, Jojo, I want to get it from you. And I'd be like, what? kind of thing. And that was because the honesty and the integrity and the loyalty was there. And the audacity of how I showed up in that realness kind of thing. And, you know, it got to a point in some aspects where I was winning Employee of the Month every month. But this is a sad story. The company actually stopped doing it because it was demoralizing the other people, which when you think that was another
Yeah.
reason, because they weren't like, what's the word, valuing the effort that was being done and stuff like that. But that story of, you can get this cheaper on the internet. No, Jojo, I want to buy it from you.
Yeah. And it's just the same as in network marketing. We
Yeah,
get the whole, oh, here comes another one, just the
yeah,
same as the rest of them. If you stand out, you won't get that anymore.
yeah. And I think like network marketing, like the perception of it, you've got a hard, like, it's a hard sell, I think, in
Can
some
be.
aspects. It can be a hard sell because there is a bit of a reputation around it. So even more reason to show why you are different and why, you know, you're not that perceived element. Do you know what I mean? Which is sometimes fuels me from a Brummie point of view, because there is a perception of a
Yeah.
Brummie. Like there's a perception of every you know, culture and everything else. It very much is my two fingers up to go, but you know what? I am a six-figure business owner. I was up for Great British Entrepreneur of the Year. I've got a best-selling book. I've got a radio show. I work with micro and million-pound business owners, and then they look almost, you know, they don't perceive that as what a Brummie could do.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So it's almost,
totally.
yeah. So actually take full ownership of all those, like your strengths, but equally take ownership of your weaknesses. You know, I'll be the first person to tell you that I'm shocking at grammar. I use kisses as full stops. Um, you know, and I'm menopausal and ADHD, so my memory isn't what it was. Right. So, and it's one of the first things I say when I go and do a big talk and when I'm on stage, because there could quite easily be a spelling mistake in my slides, right? Equally, my grammar, I'd say the longest sentences ever. But equally, you're going to get a lot of kisses as full stops because it comes with a lot of love. And instantly, what that does is that manages the expectation of the client and the audience. So they're not disappointed when they see, and they're not, I'm not being judged because I'm like, well, I told you. And if it's a real if it's a deal breaker for you, then this is where we part ways. Do you know what I mean? Or otherwise, if you're going, well, oh, I do that as well, then straight away there's a connection that will never
Yeah.
be broken because there's been honesty and there's been ownership, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's part of your brand. My part of my brand is the fact that I am who I am, and I have been in a place that has had, like, I used to have massive anxiety as a kid. So when I used to go on stage or do the parties and stuff with the home party plan stuff, I used to say, look, I'm as anxious as anything. I've sat in a room full of people and I'm stood in a room full of people that I don't know. I will be nervous, and that's okay. And if they don't get that, again, it's a brand thing. They're not the people I should be working with because they're never going to relate to me.
Vulnerability does actually build connection.
It does. Yeah, it does.
And it's been a huge thing of mine. And I remember when I first stepped into the online space 6 years ago, and I did a challenge, and you had to show up. There's a Danny Wallace challenge. That's twice we've mentioned her. It's no secret we're really, really good friends. Best friends. I'm a creative director for her event, but I did this challenge. And I remember I must have done, I don't know, 200 takes for this 20-second piece of like, you know, to camera. And then I remember thinking to myself, Jojo, what is the absolute worst state you would never want anybody to see you in? Right. And I used to wear Velcro rollers, still do. You've probably seen like
Yeah.
a bit of a brand anchor, these Velcro rollers, right? And I remember thinking, oh God, nobody could see me in my rollers. And I thought, right, just do it. Just do it. Get it out the way. Get it out the way, because the time and energy you are wasting on this. Well, what do you think happened with that video?
That probably went viral.
within that community, absolutely did. And for all the right reasons, because it gave everybody else permission to be who they just were. And it has literally become one of my brand anchors now. Like life is busy, time is short, and I'll be at events hit left, right, and centre, which means I might have to show up to one event in my rollers because I'm getting my hair ready for the next aspect. It's not a problem now. People almost expect it. And that was so releasing to just be able to be me. And the minute I cracked that code of understanding that if I was just me, I don't really like the word just, if I was wholeheartedly me, then actually that was what was going to connect me.
Yeah.
And, you know, the ROI of brand. So those people that are thinking, oh, do I invest in it? And when I say invest in it, I'm talking time or money. You absolutely have to spend time on your brand.
Yeah.
It's an absolute necessity. But for those that are wondering about it, I cannot tell you how unlimiting it was the moment that I stepped into me. And from that became a huge part of my mission and purpose as well, was because, oh my goodness, if everybody realised how good it is on this side of the fence, if they just jump off and if they just do it, then literally the freedom, the abundance, and the transformation, they're three values actually of one of my brands that I work with, freedom, abundance, and transformation. They literally they just come to you in like tenfold. It's ridiculous. And that was me. I just want to tell everybody, get off that fucking fence. come down to this side, because once you step into who you are, truly, it is so freeing. And you do become unstoppable. It's like ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I've got a similar story with regards to the lives, because gosh, it will have been far more than 6 years ago. I remember, I remember couldn't go live. There was no way I was going live. And I tell this story to everybody in my world. There was no way I was going live. I wasn't putting my voice or my face on a camera. I used to think I was ugly. I was a tomboy as a kid, so I never used to wear makeup. So I had to go live because I had to teach my entire downline to go live, my team in network marketing back in the day. So it's probably about 2016, something like that. And I had to do it. I didn't have a choice, because if I wanted them to do it and grow, I had to take ownership of this and do it. I had to lead. So I just said, right, do you know what? I'm just going to go live. And I was outside a hotel room, and I just picked up my phone and I put my face to camera and I just spoke on my profile, or it might be my group or wherever it was, and I just did it. No makeup, my hair was a mess, and I didn't care. And it took me a few goes to actually think, well, actually, evidence says here that people are watching it and they're still commenting and they don't hate me. And actually, I appear like that offline as well. So I didn't die. But it dawned on me that I show up like this to a room full of people to present to them. I show up like this to the supermarket, like you were saying earlier on. Why would I put a full face of makeup, have my hair done, get the perfect backdrop to go live on Facebook? Well, that's not me.
Yeah.
So there's a total disconnect. Yeah. So I'm going to show up with no makeup on, or very little makeup, if any, and my hair's not going to be perfect because I need to show everybody else that they can do that.
Be real.
Exactly. But I think it does take a lot of guts, but you don't realise how much guts it takes when you're sat in that place of, I can't do this.
No. So our company values, my values, are to be real AF, right? And what they stand for. And like, if anybody takes anything away from this, I would ask them to write these down if they're listening. And in order to show up as your real self, you need these elements, right? And these are what we have anchored and amplified in our business, and we absolutely live by them. That is respect. Respect for you, respect for yourself, first and foremost, but respect for those people that you are serving. Because if you are fake with filters, then when they actually meet you in real life, you've done a disservice. I mean, this is harsh, but you've kind of lied to them a little bit. Every now and again, you might have your makeup and everything on, but if that's not you wholeheartedly, then respect is the first one. Encouragement is the second. Encourage yourself to be you, right? Encouragement is hugely underrated in the business world, but encouragement to be yourself. And that then shows other people that they can be themselves.
Yeah. Super important in network marketing as well, because you're leading a team.
Yeah. So encouragement, one of our
Yeah.
biggest values. Audacity. Be audacious enough to be yourself, because then we're going against the grain of the shoulds that life puts out there. And we are fighting a heavy battle with peer pressure, what you should
Yes.
look like, what you should be like, what you should say, who you should, do you know what I mean? All the shoulds. So have the audacity to actually be that, because that's when we make a difference and that's when we make a change. And then L. So this spells real. So L is for loyalty. Be loyal to yourself and be loyal to those people that you want to serve by being real. And the AF for me, well, obviously there's what that stands for, but what it really stands for is fair exchange, because the AF stands for fair exchange in our values. Because fair exchange, if you don't have fair exchange from a service provider point of view, you will get resentful, your clients will get resentful, your team will get resentful, and that doesn't breed for a happy ending for anybody. So real AF is where I would love people to kind of anchor some direction for how they start to be real AF and be themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally agree. And I think from this podcast, I'm really hoping that people start to think about this, because it's so important. If you want to build a big business, you need to stand out from the crowd.
Well, the thing is, with AI coming into play as well, right? We've
Yeah.
got a responsibility to, and I'm like, from a creative point of view, you would think that AI may became as a threat from a creative point of view. Absolutely not. But AI will ruin your business if you're using it, if you are not being real AF and directing it, because you will start to sound like everybody else. And from an AI point of view as well, in order for us to lead AI in some aspect from an emotional point of view, from sorry, I'm just having a delivery, and the guy's waving at me, and I'm going, I'm on a podcast, can't wave at you now.
I've got a note on my door, do not knock.
Right, sorry. Well, we're being real AF. We're being real AF.
Exactly.
My delivery of all my client Christmas presents has just come, so it's actually very exciting. So the he's just left there. But we need to have that element of responsibility with AI coming in. And if we're not real AF and we don't put that into what we're directing with AI, then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, do you know what? This chat for us today, we knew that we'd been here before and but hasn't it evolved so much?
Because we've evolved as well, and our brands have evolved.
We first met, it was at an award ceremony, I think. I'm sure I first met you at the business Stacey's Awards.
Yeah, Business Success Network.
That was one of the first awards I was ever up for. I didn't win.
Same here.
But we met, and I remember us having a very brief conversation. We then went on, did the podcast and everything, but we've both gone off and done our things in the world.
Yeah.
But, and I just saw you when you put out about the podcast and guests, and I thought, oh yeah, let's have a catch up. And I'm really glad that we've done this, because I think from a network marketing point of view, I'm really glad that I can have some kind of input to be able to give some direction, because I do think it's hard. I think when you're representing another brand, and don't forget I did that for 25 years, so there's an element that you think you have to dull an amount of yourself when you are doing that, but no, you've got to bring that ownership. And I would also say, as a bit of direction, find out what the values are of the company that you're working for and see where you align most and amplify that value.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
That will really help you stand out. So if their values, whatever they are, I mean, does everybody really go and have some depth work within the values of the companies they're working for? Or do they sit on the surface of it and go, oh yeah, our values are blah, blah, blah. Values aren't a marketing tool. They're an actual life and delivery direction compass for a business.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you go and do that work and find the one that you align to most. And if there's more than one, then you're definitely in the right place. If there's none, you're not in the right business.
No, I totally agree with that one. Yeah, and they can
Yeah.
be found dead easy. If you've not been in network marketing or you do it as a bit of a hobby or whatever, you just go onto their main website and they'll be there. Values of the company. Probably on your own personal website as well if you've never looked.
Yep.
Yeah, but thank you so much for this. It's been so amazing having you back on.
I really appreciate you asking me. Thank you.
That's all right. Where can people find you if they want to come and have a nosy?
So they can come and find me at CreativSAS, which is CREATIV NOE SAS, all one word. I would love it if you came and gave me a follow on Instagram with CreativSAS. Equally, with the Big Wish Works being my CIC company for care leavers and entrepreneurship, I'd love them to go and give the Big Wish Works a bit of a follow as well. We're in awareness and fundraising at the moment, so all the followers we can get, all the eyes on that would be perfect as well. But yeah, that's where they can find me. And my website, which is brand new, we've just evolved. Go and have a look at the website because there's loads of free resources on there as well from a brand point of view. So, you know, there's a great quiz that gives you some direction as to where you are from your belief, your brand, and your business development.
Yeah, I'll get all them links and put them in the show notes as well. Brilliant. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thank you for having me.
See you
See
soon.
you again in another few years.
Yes.